Wait, Traveler? Take a peek to your right. Do you see those two people lurking over there? Is it just Paimon? Or were they staring at us the whole time we were talking to Kuching and Charlotte just now? They seem fishy. Huh. Well, yes, but something's up. Paimon just has a bad feeling. Do you think they could be treasure hoarders? They always seem to be stirring up trouble during Lantern Rite. Oh, Paimon's sick of waiting around for something bad to happen. We should strike first, you know. Foil their plans before they even begin. You go right, Paimon will go left.
Oh.
It is with such an air of urgency that you appear before us. Your comportment suggests you believe us to have committed some heinous crime. Perhaps you could enlighten us as to your intentions.
Whoa, where did this fuddy-duddy come from? You should be the one doing the enlightening, buddy. Don't think we didn't notice you eavesdropping. One look and we could tell you were up to no good. Tell us everything, starting with your name.
One bears no secrets before two such as yourselves. You stand in the presence of the mighty and illuminated Adeptus, Moon Carver. For the purpose of this foray into the mortal realm, however, you may address one as Hojong.
You kidding? That deer's got his head stuck so far up in the clouds, there's no way he'd humble himself down here with the rest of us.
You may want to hold your tongue, Paimon.
Don't think that Paimon is gonna believe you just because you know her name. Let Paimon guess. You're supposed to be Mountain Shaper, right?
Indeed. Mooncarver and myself have descended upon the mortal realm for a visit. The two of you may call me Jiahu.
Huh. Looks like you did your research. But in our experience, the harder you try to lead us on, the more likely it is that we've got a big fish on our hands. We'll go straight to the Millilith and have you arrested for impersonating a deaf guy.
Preposterous! Utterly preposterous!
Right. Tell us something that only an Adeptus would know. And it better not be some common knowledge that any person on the street could tell you.
During the last Lantern Rite, we gathered at Mount Hulao with Rex Lapis and made use of Cloud Retainer's supreme cuisine machine to prepare bamboo shoot soup. Perhaps you have some recollection? The flavor of that soup was more than enough to whet one's appetite. As such, Cloud Retainer assented to my use of the device beyond that singular occasion, providing other recipes to boot. Since then, one has dabbled in the pleasures of the culinary arts whenever time allows.
Dabbled? Upon one's last sojourn to your mountain, did you not immediately attempt to hide the device behind a chunk of amber as soon as one's presence was known?
Did one not speak up on your behalf but a moment ago? This is how you choose to repay that kindness?
One is simply trying to emphasize the veracity of our claim.
That does not mean you should reveal personal matters so readily. They might think one bears no difference from Cloud Retainer. Forget it. One does not have the breath to waste on such petty trifles.
That might have been more detail than we needed. Seems like you two are the real deal, and Paimon's sorry for suspecting you. But, for beings as forgiving as yourselves, this is just water under the bridge, right?
You indeed have an agile mind. Cloud Retainer was not mistaken in her high estimation of you.
Paimon's still curious about something. It's just... Paimon can understand why Mountain Shaper is here, but why did you decide to come to the city, Mooncarver? It's not really your thing, is it?
It is but an inevitable eventuality. Long have the mountains remained strangely idle since Cloud Retainers moved to Liyue Harbor. With Lantern Rite near at hand, one would expect Cloud Retainer to provide us with an account of the festivities in advance. Yet to this day, she has failed to appear.
Cloud Retainer is hardly the forgetful sort.
One must never rest idle in the face of that which demands action. And since our acquaintances dwell in Liyue Harbor, we had to travel here in human form to avail ourselves of their aid, Cloud Retainers in this case.
But a moment ago, one heard you speak of a mechanical kite of sorts. It appears the essence of the situation has hitherto revealed itself. Now it is time for one to retire back to one's abode.
Huh. So, you're not looking for Cloud Retainer anymore?
Perhaps there are aspects of Cloud Retainer's temperament that remain opaque to young Paimon. Given one's understanding, one can only imagine the anger that now consumes her.
Cloud Retainer is of a proud and arrogant disposition. She holds the belief that her skill in mechanics surpasses that of all others. One can be quite certain it is hardly with an open mind that she regards the arrival of this new technology.
One surmises that she has shut herself away, refused all company, and buried herself in the study of her own creations. To call on her would only invite her rebuke. However, if you do happen to cross paths with her over the next few days, do pass along one's regards.
Sure, leave it to us. Have a safe trip back, enjoy the scenery, and happy Lantern Rite!
Thank you for your kind words. We shall now depart.
We got all worked up for nothing, huh? All that trouble and it turned out to be people we knew all along. It's not that we think those things exactly. That's just what Mountain Shaper and Moon Carver told us. Or Tia something and Ho. Paimon can't be bothered to remember what their aliases were called. Anyway, they went to Liyue Harbor to look for you. They even asked us to pass along their regards if we ran into you. Xianyun?
It appears time has quite flown since one's arrival in Liyue Harbor. How could one have forgotten about those two old fossils? One shall have to bring them back some divine herbs to atone for this slight. Nay, given that one has ventured all this way to Yilong Wharf, tea would be more advisable.
This Fontanian device of mechanical motion is quite curious indeed.
Now is hardly an opportune time for your musings. Someone among us was not sufficiently attentive, and now the kite has vanished.
Calm yourself. Do you have any recollection of its last location?
One believes it drifted in the direction of Mount Outsong. Perhaps it is mere happenstance, but one feels a certain sense of dread at the thought.
Your concern is misplaced, surely. Cloud Retainer is either in the city looking after her disciples, or secluded in her abode attending to her research. She will not notice that kite. On the subject of said kite, however, one simply must remark on the genius of its windless lift technology. One cannot help but surmise that its ingenuity rivals that of Cloud Retainer's creations.
Still thy tongue. If Cloud Retainer were to hear you profess such a thing, we can both say farewell to any further use of the Supreme Cuisine Machine.
One presumes that this kite belongs to you.
Huh?
Regard the situation with which we are now confronted. This is all your fault.
One's fault? One seems to recall that releasing the kite was no solitary endeavor. Say something, Mountain Shaper. Surely you can think of something to appease her.
Further explanation shall only fan the flames of her wrath. It would be better to stay silent and retire at the earliest opportunity.
We can hardly avoid her forever. That may suffice during Lantern Rite. But what about the Moon Chase Festival? Sooner or later, she will discover our true identity.
Hello?
Go retrieve the kite.
Absolutely not. You retrieve it.
That is not our kite.
Oh, so an adeptus such as oneself is mistaken then?
Ah, you're an adeptus? Please forgive us for any impropriety. I truly possess no inkling of who could have released a kite into your esteemed domain. Pray, who could be responsible for such wanton behavior?
Verily, verily, we were but delighting in the surrounding scenery. This locale is home to such exquisite... mint! Well, and if that's all, then we'll just be on our way.
We finally caught up. You sure do fly fast in your illuminated bird form, Xianyun. Mooncarver? Mountain Sheeper? What are you doing here?
You!
Okay, now Paimon's getting a weird vibe. Did she say something wrong?
It is of no consequence. Long has one seen through their disguises. One was simply curious as to how long they would keep up the act.
Then you are not angry?
How could one feel anger at the sight of two old friends enjoying themselves? One is also well aware of how enticing these city novelties can be.
We were simply consumed by a fit of festive spirit. Seldom do we get the opportunity to partake in the delights of the times. However, we are far from being as adept as you in matters that require a deftness of hand. No worthy kite could be born of our own making. Thus, we could only take the convenient route, so to speak.
Your prowess in mechanics is unparalleled, Cloud Retainer. You wield the wind and waves themselves. Your singular talent stands unmatched across the land. Of this, we are well aware.
One has guests to attend to. We will have to convene again some other time.
It seems that one's concern was misplaced after all.
Then, should we continue flying the kite?
A splendid suggestion, but it would be advisable to change locations.
Perhaps your mountain would suffice? It is more than spacious enough.
A fine idea. A fine idea indeed.
Halt! Who goes there?
It appears that one's movements were overly conspicuous.
Enough of your musings. Focus. Focus on the matter at hand. Present your exquisite ornaments at once.
Indeed. Bring them forth readily and without protest.
Ah! What do we do? It seems as if these two are acting alone. It won't be difficult to subdue them, but they might have something else waiting in store for Dad. The best way to keep him safe is... Leave this to me. I'll handle them. Traveler, Paimon, take my dad and the goods away from here.
No, Gaming. It's too dangerous.
This is what I do.
A thorny foe indeed. Let us depart and seek a target softer in blows and disposition.
Don't think I'm gonna let you off so easily.
Away! Let us away!
Coming!
I'll come right out and say it. Those two bandits, you sent them, didn't you?
So that's how we're starting off?
Can't look me in the eye, huh? Guess I'm right then.
Okay, but how did you know?
At first, their mannerisms seemed a bit stilted. But once I got close, it was obvious that they possessed great skills. I was right on their tail, and it should have taken only a few steps to catch up to them, yet somehow, I was never able to close that distance. People with that level of skill would have gone about things differently from the start, like sneaking up on us while we were distracted. Unless, of course, their real motive was to lure me away from the group all along.
Wow, you're pretty quick on the uptake.
I just have a lot of experience. I've dealt with many a ruthless bandit in my time, but I've never seen ones like them. In the end, I told them they would make good guards if they ever wanted to get back on the straight and narrow, and that they could hang out with me in Liyue Harbor anytime.
You ever consider you might be a little too good at making friends?
Given your present countenance, one presumes you are missing some old friends again.
One cannot help but be reminded of them.
Pray speak. Unburden yourself of these sentiments.
One simply wishes Menogias were alive to witness such peace alongside us. He was so skilled in matters of craftsmanship. Kite making would scarcely prove to be a test of his capabilities. Were he yet amongst the living, he could have opened a kite stall. One is certain it would have been an establishment rich not only in profit, but also esteem. And if, as in the past, he were unable to involve himself in matters of the mortal realm, we could sell the kites in his stead. When we finished, we could bring him back wine and partake in drink and good company.
Mooncarver, those are now but fond moments in our memories.
Indeed. The dead are gone, so, as the representatives of the living, let us take in the sights for a bit longer, if just for his sake.